The Legend of Kaguya Island was the first completely original story the Sailor Moon musicals attempted, and the revised second run from August 1999 was the first Sailor Moon I ever watched. So obviously I might be a bit biased in this, but it's one of my favorite Sailor Moon stories, period, and criminally overlooked in my eyes. It was the first new Sailor Moon story after Stars wrapped up. Parallel Sailor Moon wouldn't be published until October of that year, and nothing in the story contradicts the timeline placement after the end of the series either. And I think this placement adds a lot when analyzing the story. In the musical, the Senshi are taking a summer break vacation to the titular Kaguya Island, and to be home to legendary buried treasure, which they all end up hunting for on their first day there. The revised version's title even references this. However, the whole thing is a trap. In actuality, their tour guides are the minions of Dark Plasmin, the spirit of the comet Kotal that once attempted to destroy the Earth. On the moon, using the Silver Crystal in the past, Queen Serenity had sent the comet away, inadvertently causing massive floods on Earth. The comet is soon going to pass the Earth once more, and Dark Plasmin wants to make sure no one can stop him from causing destruction this time. The Senshi end up trapped on the island, with no way home, unable to transform, and slowly succumbing to a mysterious disease that's leaving them continuously weaker. Meanwhile, Loaf Marrow, a totally not lesbian pirate captain, formerly a princess on Earth, I think, who was frozen when the floods happened, and her crew of robots aim to take the Silver Crystal as revenge for her fate. It's all really somewhat ridiculous when said out loud, but I feel like it's fittingly weird in that Sailor Moon weird way. It certainly doesn't get as out there as some of the later musicals. There's a lot in this musical I love. And someday I may do a more in-depth look at the story and the musical overall, but today I want to focus on one specific scene. As I mentioned, on the island, the Senshi find themselves unable to transform or use their power. Partway into the play, Setsuna brings up a theory that plagues are caused by comets. Initially, this is set up for a joke. Immediately after she finishes, Chibiusa crashes down from the sky, with Usagi thinking she's some sort of virus crashing down on the planet, but instead it's Chibiusa, and she sings a song about how she ran away from home to avoid going to summer school, which was set up in a past scene. It's gold. I love it. It's really funny. But Setsuna's talk of plagues coming from comets ends up being important, as the next day the Senshi begin to get sick. Usagi and Chibiusa are protected by their silver crystals, and Mamoru by the golden crystal, but the others aren't. Hotaru and Ami are the first affected, being the weakest, and hit the hardest, but slowly everyone starts to fall. This is where the scene that inspired this whole video comes in. As the comet draws closer, Haruka and Michiru decide to go fight, even without their powers, only for Haruka to immediately stumble. Michiru notes that she has a bad fever, and Haruka says Michiru does as well, but says she doesn't want the other girls to see them like this. They resolve to continue on, only for the others to come running in, Rei yelling that then with a call by Usagi for them all to come together and a crack of thunder to emphasize the dire mood, the musical number Sailor War starts. Sailor War was a recurring song throughout the original run of musicals, first appearing in the very first musical, and was used all the way to the very last. There are multiple versions, often with slightly revised lyrics and different tones. Probably most famous among the fandom is Sailor War Supreme from the original Sailor Stars musical and its revised version. The Supreme version is basically a war march melody of several songs that comes together into the main verse of the original Sailor War, formed by the inners, the outers, and the starlight. To me though, the original version, like the one used in this musical, was always the most impactful. Contrary to what one might expect from the title, Sailor War is less a we're going to kick some ass sort of song, and more holy shit, we're probably going to die. It's a song where the characters acknowledge the wall they're about to face, and the fact they're genuinely afraid they won't make it out alive, lamenting that their dreams and memories are left unfinished, but knowing that to protect everything and everyone they care about, they need to risk it all. It's a song with a very desperate feeling, and has a very melancholic beginning, before shifting to a more determined feel for the ending verses. There's an often joked about line in the original English theme song for the 90s anime, never running from a real fight. It's viewed as ironic with Sailor Moon, because she always wants to not fight, but That line is something I feel the anime itself has always supported, as early as the finale of the first season, where we see her running towards the fight at the end of episode 45. Here, Sailor War is the character sticking to that motto. There's a lot I really love about this sequence. Firstly, Haruka and Michiru's bits preceding the song. It's a sweet moment of vulnerability and openness for them. We get to see their relationship on full display. We see how much they care about and support one another, and the fact that they're together to the very end. Haruka only lets herself truly be vulnerable around Michiru, and Michiru only does around Haruka. What sticks with me the most is Haruka's statement that she can't let the other girls see them like this. It's part of why I love to think this story happens after Stars, especially the 90s anime version. When first introduced, Haruka and Michiru believe they're the only ones capable of saving the world, of having what it takes to do it. By the end, they come to respect the others, but in Stars we still see that they consider things to ultimately come down to them against the universe. I believe it's intentionally left ambiguous whether Hotaru and Setsuna realize what they're doing during their plan to stop Galaxia, let alone if they told them, because it's likely they never said anything. After they fail and finally have their moment of realization as they're about to die, we see during the ending that they've grown past this mindset, now letting the other members of their family in. In this scene, I believe we see more of how they've grown. Haruka isn't necessarily worried about the other girls seeing them as weak, she's worried about them losing hope from seeing that they're sick as well. They're the cool guys, the oldest and the strongest of the group, besides Setsuna. Meanwhile, we see through the story that the younger and weaker members are being hit harder, one of whom, the outright youngest, barring Chibiusa, is their daughter. If they're falling too, then there's a very good chance the others will feel even more like they're all well and truly fucked. They want to stay strong so the others are able to. They feel like they have to. It's sweet, tragic, fitting for their characters, and I think a nice role in the group for them to develop into. Then, of course, the others all run in. Ray says they aren't the only cool ones. They don't have to do it all alone, especially not for their sake. They're suffering together, and they're going to fight to the end together. Small note, but I absolutely love the thunder effect right before the song kicks in. It's really simple, achieved simply by flickering some spotlights, but it's incredibly effective at setting the scene. In a similar way, the set is simple as well, just a staircase into the darkness of the backstage the group is standing in front of. But I feel like it perfectly portrays the mountain the group feels like they have to climb. They're at rock bottom right now, but damn it, they're gonna try and make it to the top and save the day, even if it kills them. As I discussed earlier, Sailor War is a song about desperation and fear, but pushing through it to do what's right. The actions and body language of the Senshi during the number really sell this idea, and shows the different ways their fear manifests. Usagi is in the center for the most part, trying to encourage everyone and keep them all going together, even if she's clearly afraid. Makoto, throughout, is constantly psyching herself up in the background. Ami, at this point one of the weakest from their illness, is fucking terrified. We hear her say in an earlier number she feels useless, having no clue where they are or how to get home. Her knowledge is useless right now, as she doesn't have any info to contribute. Throughout most of the song, she has a horrified look on her face, and her body is constantly tense. After the first verse, she outright collapses. Usagi helps her back up, and in a small moment we see Makoto trying to psych her up too. Setsuna is mostly stoic and off to the side at first, until a terrified Hotaru runs over and hugs her. Setsuna returns it, and she's just as passionate in the later verse where they declare their desire to save the day. Haruka and Michiru are shown constantly being the first ones trying to get up the stairs, but always end up joining in the number in the end, especially as it gets more uplifting. Lastly, and fittingly considering Rei's declaration at the start, her and Minako are often closely behind Haruka and Michiru, wanting to face the impending challenge as soon as possible. Though they also join back in their friends' song almost immediately when Usagi continues it after some brief pauses. All of this is just great characterization to me. It's one of my absolute favorite scenes in the entire franchise. Through Haruka and Michiru's talk and the group's song, we see the girls at their darkest point, afraid for their lives. But together they resolve to go on, to do what's right. Things are dark, then they'll be the light. It's just everything I love about Sailor Moon. The idea that through the power of love and friendship, things will always work out in the end as long as we find the strength to carry on together is one of the franchise's main themes, and it's on full display here. At the end of the story, the group push back the comet together. I seriously cannot recommend this musical enough. As I said, maybe I'll do a full in-depth look someday if there's interest, but for now, I just wanted to share one of my favorite sequences in the entirety of Sailor Moon history. Hopefully I've encouraged at least some of you to check out the musical yourself. I'll link the Sea of Serenity fan sub down in the description. I genuinely love it, and every time I watch it, it always makes me think about why I love this series and these characters so much as well.